Hello, everyone. Just going to wait a little bit for everyone to join. Just give us a second. Feel free to put in the chat where you're from if you'd like. Just a little bit of Strawbees. If you're talking, Christopher, you're muted.
I was gonna say, looks like you're talking.
I was talking.
Yeah.
But you just told us to mute a second ago, so that's what happens. Yeah, but they disappear. I can make the trick.
Looks like we have people joining from all over. This is exciting.
Yeah, very fun.
Let's see. Yeah.
People are dropping in.
Let's give it a couple of more minutes just to see.
Yeah, we'll start at I think 3 past, just to give people 3 minutes to get in. Oh, wow. And some Swedish candy.
Yep. It suddenly got famous like a year ago, so everyone was trying out Swedish candy on the internet.
Can you guys see my, yeah, you can see my screen.
Which Mona screen Lisa says the screen is weird.
Yeah, which screen is weird? Is it the it is a little bit duplicated on the one that we have here, but well, I don't know if that's what you see, but which screen is weird? Be sure to let us know if there are any technical issues. We'll try to address them. Presenters are barely visible here. Let me unpin myself and see if that helps. It's all right if you don't see the presenters' faces, because we are sharing. I only see the foreheads.
Oh, the screen is at the bottom.
I have a beautiful.
Maybe it's weird if maybe I'll unpin them and see if that helps. Because maybe it's the pinning of everything that makes it weird.
Unpin
maybe
us.
That fixes. Yeah, I've unpinned everyone. Cool. I think that we will go ahead, since we do have a lot to cover and we don't want to run over time too much. We will be doing Q&A at the end, so feel free to add your questions and answers into the Q&A section rather than the chat, so we can keep an eye out on everything. And my name's Lola. I'm going to be the MC a little bit here while we do this and introduce the different sections. But yeah, this is Strawbees 101. We're going to cover basically what is Strawbees and also a little bit of some specialist topics. And yes, it is recorded, so you will be able to reference it, and we will also share the slides. And so you'll be able to rewatch it at any time if you'd like. And we've got a link at the end, which you can copy down, but we will email everything out. So no need to rush to make any notes. So just sit back and watch, basically. So yeah, I'm going to do some introductions of our presenters today. I'll let them introduce themselves a little bit more first. And first we have Ellen. Ellen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Ellen. I am the school partnership manager at Strawbees, and I have been with the company for about 3 years. I work with our school districts and help them implement Strawbees within their schools and make sure everything runs smoothly. Help them get PD set up and everything, to make Strawbees the best experience. And here is a picture of the biggest thing that I have built with Strawbees. This is a replica of the Burj Khalifa that me and my niece, who was an intern at the time, did together with Eric, the creator of Strawbees. So yeah, this is at our old office. It is actually a very tall building. And yeah, I am passionate about CrossFit and food, so I like to work out and eat, which is a great combination.
I can vouch for that.
Yes. All
Cool.
right.
I know Mona Lisa's struggling to see. Does anyone have a problem seeing the presentation at all? Because I just want to make sure everyone can see it before
Oh,
we continue. I can exit out and reshare it if that's an issue. Let me actually do that just really quickly. Share. There we go. Can you see it? You can see it, Julie. Well,
Julie can see.
if worse comes to worse, I have reshared it. But if worse comes to worse, Mona Lisa, we will be sharing the. Yeah, you can join again, or we will be sharing the slides later on, so you will be able to see them later on if there's any issues. Cool. So we'll go ahead and go on. And Christopher, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm the head of product for Strawbees, and I have been I'm part of the co-founders team, so I've been here from the start, basically, since we started Strawbees. I've been doing mostly the kind of the electronic stuff, but now I'm doing a lot of everything. And I think that the most fun thing that I have built, or the thing that I spend the most time on playing with afterwards, at least, was a musical instrument that I built with Strawbees. That's also, I like to build musical instruments, and I'm I really, in general, like the kind of the intersection between like creativity, learning, technology, and creating these kind of tools for creative processes. So that's, I guess, my passion and also my career.
Cool. Awesome.
And
So, yeah, I will. The next thing that we're going to cover, Christopher's going to take over. We're basically going to give you a rundown of what Strawbees is. So, yeah, Christopher, you can take it away and just let me know when you need me to go to the next slide.
all right, you can just move on there. Yeah, so Strawbees, these things we have here, little things that you can connect together. But it's not just little things that you can connect together. It's actually a hands-on learning system that you can do a lot of stuff with. It's very versatile, it's scalable, it works for huge ranges of different ages and in different applications. But where we really are shining and where we are specialized is in the STEM field, doing cross-curricular education. We call it STEAM because we also want to include art, because the arts sort of bind things together and builds meaning into the technology, I think. Uh, of course, you can do stuff in the classroom, but also in a lot of other educational situations like after school programs and libraries, and we have a lot of summer camps and all that kind of stuff. And Strobis is also we also have been more and more aligned to the different types of state standards and national standards of the US. So we will talk about that a little bit more, but uh, we are trying to really cater to what the teacher needs when they are doing hands-on learning in the classroom. So yeah, you can click to the next. And just very concretely, what is the Strawbees made up of, or what's the Strawbees system? It's three parts, I would say. We have the connectors and straws, these little connectors and the straws, all color coded and really, really fun to build with. We have the part that is the robotics part. So it's based on microbits, and then there are some other little bits and bobs and connections and motors and lights and cool stuff that you can program and uh, learn about coding and learn about robotics in a very exploratory and very intuitive and very like low threshold way, so that you can really start from not knowing anything and start exploring together with the materials that we have in Strawbees Classroom, which I say is the sort of the last piece of the puzzle of the Strawbees product. And the Strawbees Classroom is our online platform where we collect all the materials that teacher needs to run good lessons in the classroom. And there is also stuff there for other types of educators and student-facing content and so on. We can actually move on to the next slide because yeah, this is what it looks like in the library of Strawbees Classroom. So this is kind of the meat of it. We have courses and lesson and activities and teacher support articles. And the thing that's cutting off there a little bit is we have channels with also inspirational, like pure inspirational content. I think the most interesting is on the next slide, which is the lessons. So yeah, so this is what it looks like. By the way, please log in and make an account in Strawbees Classroom. It's free, and all the materials there are you can look at everything there without paying or anything like that. So it's all available to anyone who's interested right now. Classroom.strawbees.com. Oh, yeah, you can go to the next one. And this is also just to remind me to show you that on every lesson that we have all the aligned standards. So here you can see this like SDGs is not standards, but we are aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals, and we're trying to cover them. But NGSS, CSTA, a lot of state standards like for Florida and Texas and what else? Yeah, probably many more things that I forgot to mention there. So you can go there and you can explore. And also, yes, step-by-step instructions for building parts is also in every lesson and activity. So it's very easy to get started, and you can always just, if you don't know where to how to start building with these, Strawbees Classroom will definitely guide you through that. And if you're a teacher, there are also like teacher training guides in there. So there's teacher training articles and getting starting articles and stuff like that. So go and explore Strawbees Classroom if you want to know more about Strawbees. And let's just first at all, so that you get an idea on, start looking at what Strawbees looks like when we are actually using it in the classroom. So here is a few examples. Yeah, this is how they connect together. And yeah, this is from our famous, I don't know, very popular at least bridge challenge. And here is another lesson we have that is about building a mechanical arm. These are platonic solids, which is also really cool. And this is a kind of a game that you can invent. You can actually invent games with Strawbees, which is kind of fun. So yeah, let's go to the next video. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we are on the next video. Yeah, this shows the robotics system. You can build. Yeah, this is the robotic crane, and you can build, and you can see there also you can very easily program stuff with Strawbees. We can move to the next. Here's another little example of from our wind turbine lesson or from our wind power lesson. So we have actually a lot of different lessons that has to do with sustainable energy and building and learning about that. What's next? Oh yeah, this is the marble run. So you can learn a little bit about physics by building uh, building different things that move, and then you can change them on the fly very quickly so that you can kind of complete experiments in the classroom very quick and easy. And so, yeah, this is more on the art side, I guess, or maybe the biology side. But the mechanical things and robots doesn't always have to be robot-like. They can also be animals, like whales, for instance. This is a very nice little thing that shows both mechanics. So yeah, so this is a kite, and yeah, this is the inventor of Strawbees, Eric, who is flying his kite that he's very proud of. He's a man of many flying machines, and I guess the kite is one. Uh, what more do we have? Oh yeah, this is from a lesson that's where we're learning about earthquakes. So this is actually an earthquake simulator. So you can build different buildings, and you build the simulator that moves the earth, and then you can see which buildings can resist the earthquake the best. Or you can build a water wheel and a little extra mechanical thing. So this shows off the capabilities of Strawbees of building quite complex mechanical structures quite simply. Here is from another lesson that also has to do with sustainable energy. So this tracks the sun or the light. So it actually looks where it finds the most light, and then it moves to the lightest place. Very useful if you have solar panels, for instance. And this is from our city planning lesson, where everyone gets to build different buildings, and then you can put them together and talk about what is a good city that we want to live. And yeah, it's a very concrete, hands-on way to talk about societal things. So yeah. So you saw a few examples there, but I want to talk a little bit. I want to zoom out a little bit from the very concrete things that you can build with Strawbees and talk about more of on an abstract level. What is it that makes Strawbees different from, let's say, other hands-on building systems? So yeah, so one of the things that is very different with Strawbees, I think, is that it's so fast to build, and it's so lightweight, and it's so quick to do things with, that you can actually use it as a sketching tool. So just like you would sketch on paper, you can sketch in 3 dimensions with Strawbees. And that makes it a really powerful way to talk about concepts, to explain concepts to others, to explain them to yourself, to prototype things, and to develop this skill of explaining an idea and developing an idea. And I think that's a very powerful thing with Strawbees. And because it's so lightweight, and because if you drop it, it doesn't break, and if it breaks for some other reason, you can always fix it. It's a wireframe model, so you can see all around it, and it doesn't really matter which part you build first. You can always change any part of it. So it's a communication tool, and a very good one, and that can be used in many ways in an educational setting. So yeah, next one. Strawbees as a system is also very open-ended. So when we are saying that you building stuff with Strawbees, we don't tell you, oh, if you're using Strawbees, you can only use Strawbees with Strawbees, and it's like this closed ecosystem. Uh, but if you already have hands-on tools that you like crafts materials or upcycled materials or paper, strings, cardboard, all those kind of things, even other types of building systems, Strawbees will work really well with that. And sometimes it will even function as a glue between different systems that you're using, or different materials that you're using. So we encourage this open-endedness. And this also goes actually for all the materials that we have in Strawbees Classroom. We look at them as starting points where you can start building your own things. And just because it's a step-by-step instruction doesn't mean you have to exactly follow it. And we really encourage that kind of open-endedness and iteration of building things and learning about the stuff that you're building. So yeah, we can take the next. And with this whole thing of exploration and engineering and STEM subjects and innovation and creativity, one of the most important things that you can learn in this area uh, is actually to learn how to overcome an obstacle by yourself. And the Strawberry system, I think, is very uniquely balanced in the way that it will always kind of present a challenge to you. Even if you're really, really good at building the strawberries and been doing it for a really long time, you cannot always predict what will happen. There will always be some little things like, I didn't think about this. So strawberries will always present a problem to you. But because it's so flexible, it doesn't stop you there. There is always a way around it. And especially if you're working with others, you will find maybe many different types of solutions to your problem. And this whole thing makes the learner, or also the teacher, who is, I guess, also a learner in some ways, experience this little trajectory that you kind of define a problem, you find a problem, and then you get to solve it. And once you have been doing that a couple of times, this gives you this confidence that, hey, I can actually start on this project. I can start doing this thing because I don't have to be afraid if something doesn't go as planned, because I know I can solve it because I have done it several times. And this is a very rewarding skill to have, because I think it's a skill, even though it has to do with also like a little bit of an attitude, but it's like this skill that is extremely useful if you want to create anything, I guess, but I think especially in the STEM fields, and especially if you want to be an engineer in any kind of way. So yeah, and encourage cooperation. I think this maybe it's a little bit between the lines of all the other things that I have said, that Strawbees works really well when you're building together, and it's a very communicative tool. And yeah, it just works well. And a lot of the stuff that we have in Strawbees Classroom, we encourage you to work in groups, to work in teams, to work in pairs, to present things, to build things so that you can talk about them. Actually, language teachers or ESL teachers sometimes use Strawbees because it's easier to learn a language when you have something to talk about that is like concrete and there in front of you, and that you can show people, and you can sort of be kind of multimodal in your communication. And also solving problems together is like it's a really good skill to have. And then we come down to coding, because that might not be as obvious as the other things that I said, but actually when you're starting to learn to code, just at this very, very first point, a lot of people, or a lot of, like, everyone will be at the point like, why should I code? Because I think most people in general, most kids, they're not very interested in code as is. Like, code in itself is like a very abstract thing, and some people are really interested in it. I think it's fascinating, and many people are fascinated by it. But if you're not, and if you don't know why you should be fascinated with it, I think doing it in the physical world makes a lot of sense. Because yeah, for instance, if you have a motor that's moving back and forth, the program for that is dead simple. Anyone can learn it in 5 minutes and can understand it. But that doesn't kind of do anything if you just have it on your screen. But if you're building something that's in the real world, that is moving, that's in the context of something that you have built, then the motor moving is a dog wagging its tail, it's someone waving at you, maybe it's like a hammer banging a nail, it could be a crane lifting something up and down. And that invites you to change the code in different ways so that it makes sense for the thing that you're building. So then even people who are not interested in code, they're probably interested in their what they are doing. Like, in everyone is interested in their immediate physical surroundings. So that makes it possible for to drag people in that and get interested in code, because you can immediately see that this is something that affects real life. And once you get that insight, you will also get hopefully the insight, or you're halfway there getting the insight that code is actually a really important thing in our society. Everything that is manufactured or transported, or like a lot of the things you will see around you right now, and I'm not talking about your computer, I'm talking about other things, have been affected by code in some way. And if you start looking at the world in that way, and if you start looking at code as something that you can affect, something that you can do something with, that will pull in the people who might not be super interested in code, but are interested in all these other modalities around code. That is, I think, maybe in the end, what is important and what might be important for someone who's choosing their future career. So yeah, next. So why use Strawbees? It's fun, it's hands-on, collaborative, and it gives students agency. It's a way to create new ideas. You can tell stories with it. And it is an easier way to approach intimidating, complex subjects like coding, but also other things. Maybe next. And also, yes, for the teachers, when we are implementing Strawbees into a district, we are working very closely with our customers. We are doing trainings. We have different ways of helping like a district if they want to implement Strawbees. So, and just our general vibe of the company is that we really like to interact with teachers, and we really like to interact with educators of all kinds. So yeah, we are that kind of company that
It's
we're gonna
reason
talk
that
to you.
they
Okay,
should
okay,
say yes.
okay. Sorry.
definitely. So yeah, I was going to take over from Christopher. Thank you so much for going through the whole system of what Strawbees is.
Yeah,
I wanted to share as well. This is Roberta Starling, who is the senior supervisor of computer science at Pasco County Schools. And this is a good example of the implementation of Strawbees on a district level, and just kind of share what she has to say about it. And let me know, you can definitely hear her, right? It played so you could hear her. Yeah, okay, good.
Biggest reason that they should say yes is because of that, the standard alignment, and then the student engagement. And I think that if they have the opportunity to actually see some of the lessons that are there along with those finished working models, that they would not have any hesitation whatsoever, and that they would want to get on board for that. And then of course price, with districts, it's always about how much is this going to cost, but that's there too. So it's kind of, it's a low price point compared to other things that are out there, and it's just so versatile. I mean, and it's easy to store, easy to replace if needed, but also can be reused. So it's really been a great resource for us.
Cool. And then I am going to hand it over to Ellen, who's going to introduce a little bit of a case study implementation in Texas.
Thank you. Yeah, so I want to share a short clip from a case study we did with Copperas Cove ISD, which is one of our district partners in Texas. And in this video, you will hear from Anna Babette. She is the digital learning coordinator, and she oversees their library makerspaces, and they have been using Strawbees with students across the district. And she's going to talk about how excited the students are to work with Strawbees and how they always wish they had more time, more than just once per week. So let's have a look at Anna Babette.
They're happy to see me every time I go there because they know if they have question, I'll be there. But yeah, they're excited to be there, happy to see me, but they're also happy that they're there because they're learning on their own. And then the students were, when are we going to see you again? I said, next Friday. And they're like, how come we only have 1 day of GT? We should have more days. We want to do this. Doing the crane activity. So yeah, they're very excited about it. They're happy to see me.
So yeah, this is the kind of excitement we like to see when working with Strawbees. So we are going to talk a bit more about what standards we support to that. All right, so Strawbees and TEKS. Strawbees supports a wide range of teaching goals and classroom needs, and we meet several national and state standards. Christopher mentioned this a bit previously. One of the standards that we recently aligned with is TEKS, which is the Texas state standards. And one area that Strawbees really, get to shine is within the technology applications. Students get to build, test, explore through hands-on STEM lessons, and they get to practice digital skills, problem solving, real-world thinking. It is a great way to teach them about computational thinking, and students get to design, experiment, and learn how to break problems into steps while being creative at the same time. All of the learning is project-based and connects subjects like science, math, engineering, and art. So Strawbees will, as Christopher also mentioned, help students to work together, think creatively, and learn, how to communicate, both in person and online. And we offer, ready-to-use curriculum-aligned lesson plans through Strawbees Classroom, which is a free resource, so teachers can get started right away. And as we have mentioned, in Classroom, you will also find all of the curriculum alignments. So you can filter, if you just want to find lessons that are aligned with TEKS, you can choose that. Or if you're, from Florida, you can choose NGSSS and so on. But yeah, so we support, just to mention a few, Common Core, CSTA, NGSS, ISTE, and the SDGs. So yeah, that is all I had. Pass it on to you, Lola.
I do want to give us enough time for the Q&A at the end. So what I'm going to mention is we also do work with summer camps and have a lot of lessons that are really, really great for summer camps. We are going to be having another webinar in late April specifically about different summer camp ideas. And we also do have a downloadable on our site of different STEM summer camp ideas if you're looking for different ideas to implement. But these are just like a few of the examples, which you actually did see in some of Christopher's videos. So we do have that little trebuchet throw, the crane that you saw before. We have a light sensing plant, which is similar to the solar activity that you saw before in the little video that Christopher showed. Construct a whale, that's also a really, really fun activity for summer camps. Any similar animal activity we have lots of different animal associated activities. And then the wind turbines are also really, really fun, especially if you're in a windy place when it's summer. And the kite is also a good example. So there's lots of different ways you can apply it, not just in classrooms, but also in different summer camps if you'd like to try that. So yeah, I think that we're going to go ahead. We do have like plenty of time for Q&As. We've got a few Q&As here, but I'm going to go ahead and start with some Q&As that we already have. One of the first ones that we have, which I think might be good for you, Christopher, is are there replacement parts? Like how do we handle replacement parts?
For the moment, we scale the classroom kit so that even if some of the straws break and so on, you can still go on using it for a really, really long time. So we don't have at the moment dedicated replacement parts, and I actually can't promise that they're gonna be there. But
May I
yeah.
add something?
Yeah, maybe Ellen knows more about this
Yes.
because I'm not about the
No,
sales.
so what we usually do is, when you purchase the classroom kit, you will get about 4,400 pieces. So you will have a ton of material for your class. And if you will get some wear and tear over time, especially, the straws, the connectors will, most likely last you like forever.
Yeah, you're not gonna pull them
But if you need more
out.
material, we offer smaller sets. So we have something called the Imagination Kit, which is just a smaller version of the classroom set. So you could either get, a couple of those, or we offer like small steam starter kits, which can also work as a refill. So we have some different options. So if that would become an issue, you can always reach out, your contact person, and we'll get that sorted for you.
This is maybe, I don't know. Actually, I won't appoint a person. I will let whomever has the best answer or knows more to answer it. Another question is, how many uses do teachers find they get out of one kit? I would assume that depends on which one it is, right?
We have teachers that have been using the same kits for years and years. So the Strawbees themselves, they are not going to break. Even if you bend them, which you do for a lot of builds, like you're not going to be able to tear them or anything like that. So this will last for a really, really long time. The straws, as we said, there's so many straws in the kit that even if you lose 10% of the straws over 10 lessons or something like that, you're still gonna have enough straws to carry on to the next school year. That's at least the reports we are getting. But then
Yes.
again, there is a lot of small parts. Sometimes these walk away with the kids, and like at some point they will run out. They are not like Legos. They are not going to last for 50 years, but they're gonna last you for years.
Yeah. If I just may add, most customers use the same kit for several years. The biggest issue that I get told is that students want to take home what they have built.
Yeah,
so they need to add more material because students build, and they are keen on keeping what they have built.
Yeah. And also the caveat, if you are using because some teachers even allow the students to modify the Strawbees with scissors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it also depends.
tape.
Yeah, it really depends on how you use them, and so on. And there are some things that if you want your kit to last really long, you should avoid. For instance, to have the straws in the sun, like in direct sunlight, because that might weaken them and so on. But yeah, in general, they last a long time.
So I want to say, when you do have them, I've talked to a lot of teachers who want to keep all of the stuff that people build, and that can sometimes be a struggle because the fire marshals and the people who control the classroom aren't too keen on that. But you can always take pictures. Please, like, take pictures of the things that you build and share them with us, because we also do shout outs, we do throwbacks, we love to share pictures of all of the unique things that people build. So that's a good thing.
A good point as well with taking pictures is that because everything is color coded, so if you just take a picture with a fairly neutral background, like maybe from 2 angles, you will be able to recreate the model later as well. So pictures can build up a really interesting library of ideas and models and creations.
Yeah. We have another question here. For which age group it starts, and I'm not sure, like, the duration of the whole program. I'm not sure if you want to let me know, Harpreet, if there's a specific program you're talking about. But I think the age group is K-8, correct?
Yeah. The curriculum covers K-8.
Yeah, that's what we have. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but we have pre-K doing Strawbees as well, and we have high schools. We even have universities using Strawbees. But if you want the curriculum alignment, it is K-8. And the other question was maybe like how many lessons you will get out of.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's tons of lesson plans. So if you're doing one of the courses, for example, like I think the one on renewable energy is like 10 lessons, and then they come with an actual lesson plan and then the building. So and that is just one course.
And some of the lessons in Strawbees classroom that should also be mentioned, it's not one 45-minute lesson. It's like a project, like the one we saw with the shaking table and the earthquake simulator. Most teachers run that over 45 minutes instead of one, because there is like a building part and there is a programming part, and you can kind of split it up. And what can also, like, one thing I should mention also when we're talking about ages and so on, if you go into Strawbees classroom now and look at the lessons, it's sometimes says a really wide age range, and that can be a bit confusing. But if you go down and look at because we have these documents that show you like how they align to the different curriculum standards, and there you can see how you can kind of split the lesson into depending on which age range you're working with. So the project and lessons, they are kind of adaptable to a lot of different age ranges. So yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mute my mic while I was typing. Another question is, in terms of, are the discounts for nonprofits or buying in bulk?
Yes. So if you want to discuss pricing, just for bigger purchases, you can email into sales or to me directly, and we will get you a quote and discuss what we can do for you.
What grade do you introduce the microbit?
Depends. I mean, we have some districts start really early with coding, so they will start, even in first grade. But overall, I would say 4th, 5th grade is usually where we see the microbit being introduced, and in some cases, middle school. So really depends.
Yeah, I agree. That you can kind of scaffold it for the younger kids, and you know,
Exactly.
build it together. So because a lot of the time for what's actually the trouble for younger kids is that oh no, I can see like that these parts come in different pieces. So maybe you need to put them together, but if the teacher puts them together and put in the battery, you can even do that. Or what some teachers do is that if they want to work with robotics but don't necessarily need to introduce programming, they put just a very simple program in the microbit that, for instance, moves a motor back and forth, like I was talking about, and then you can build with robotics without jumping into programming directly. So there are different ways of using it like that.
And also, one of the things that I know is really appreciated is the fact that you can start off by doing really simple block coding, and then as they progress, you can add Python or even JavaScript. So Strawbees is really a tool that, you know, it's scalable through ages that they can grow with.
Yeah, and just to be super clear, we are using the microbit as kind of the brain of the operation, and then we have our own board that makes all the robotics possible. So everything you can do with the microbit, you can also do with Strawbees, or actually much more. But in terms of programming languages, we support everything the microbit support.
In that, in terms of what minimum hardware/software requirements when programming?
We recommend at least having some kind of computer. There are
tablets.
Yeah, tablets work, and a lot of people use is the Chromebooks as well. They're quite popular, and there's no hardware requirements in terms of like specs. You don't have to have like a fast computer or anything like that. But it's very good
No.
if you have a USB port, because that makes things much easier than you can do it over Bluetooth, but that's usually not a good experience when you're doing it with many kids in the classroom at the same time and you have a lot of Bluetooth connections.
But it does work.
It does work. It does work, and there are ways of scaffolding that as well, because when you're working with it in MakeCode, which is the platform that we have material for in Strawbees Classroom, you can stay in the simulator mode so that you can actually make your code in the simulator. And then once you feel that you're done, you can do kind of the uploading in one go. And then, yeah, it's hard. It's a bit harder to iterate, but so we recommend like a PC or a Chromebook or a Mac, but it's definitely possible also with an iPad.
I had a few that people might be interested in. We talked a little bit about we didn't get too much into the professional development available for teachers, but we have online guides that teachers can use on Strawbees Classroom. We do have teacher training, like live teacher training available as well. And then is there any additional professional development available, or is it just
We sometimes work with partners in the US if we need to do on-site trainings, and we also have some of our account executives are also going out and doing on-site trainings as well. So we have the capability of doing that as well if it's needed.
And I also wanted, if anyone wanted to know about pilot programs or trials, we did run just earlier this year the STEM Launchpad program, which people could apply to, which we will be running again towards the end of the year, hopefully. So that is a chance to consider. And then also, if you're a teacher and you want Strawbees in your classroom, we do have a teacher accelerator program to help you kind of get initiative and internally, because we do have some really great results when we see it implemented on a district-wide level. And so we want to make sure that we get the best results possible whenever we're going into a school. So yeah, and there is a phone number, which Ellen, if you can share, is there a sale? You can put details in the chat if you check that. But yeah, that's basically it. because we're just about out of time. But yeah, please, if you have any other, we're going to be sending over some follow-up resources, the slides, a recording. We're going to post that on our blog. But if you do have any other questions, then you can feel free to email us at educator@strawbees.com. Brilliant. Awesome. Thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you everyone for coming.